When Ashton Kutcher wrote his letter of support for his friend Danny Masterson, he wasn't just trying to paint a picture of Danny. He also painted a picture of himself, trying to imply that he never succumbed to peer pressure or did illegal substances, was always a role model to women. However, Ashton seems to forget his own past, and looking at it now, it doesn't look good. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. Look, I don't like to unpack on people's past. However, Ashton, you put this out there in this letter, and then you apologize for it. You tried to declare that you weren't trying to undermine the victims in this case. However, you kind of are. You really are in the way you spoke about it. But let's take Danny and put him aside for a second. Let's talk about your own things here. How you, at some point, you did not fall into the typical Hollywood life of drugs directly because of Danny, because Danny was always a role model. At any point I met someone who was interacted with someone who was on those substances or did those substances, he made it clear Danny wouldn't want to, they wouldn't be a good person or a friend, someone to be friends with. And for me, it was an implication that if I were to do these things, Danny wouldn't want to be friends with me, which is something I would never want to risk or jeopardize. I was grateful to Danny for that positive peer pressure. He set an extraordinary standard of how to treat people. And then he goes on in this whole instance about this belligerent man berating his girlfriend at a pizza parlor once. He always treated people with decency, equality, generosity. Always a role model to women, his own daughter, yada, yada, yada. We all saw it. Ashton, did you forget about Demi's book? Because passages are now coming forward, and man, it just does not look good now. It really doesn't. And I just don't know why you're trying to rewrite history. That's my frustration here. You got to take accountability before we can move on and let you, forgive you and we do things. I do believe in redemption. I do. This isn't canceling. You got to take accountability though. And the information that's coming forward now based on this book from 2019, not even that old, it really makes me look at things differently. I want to share with you. Tell me what you think. Am I overthinking this? Look at this. So in her memoir, which details a lot, it talks about why they broke up, and it was due to infidelity. Now, the biggest reveal in this isn't just even the fact that he was unfaithful. It was the fact that she had to fake it after finding out while they were announcing their nonprofit to combat, trafficking for women and children. And she's standing there on stage realizing that her husband has cheated on her with a woman her daughter's age. She was 22 at the time. This woman has come forward and talks all about how Ashton seduced her and tried to say that he wasn't with Demi when he was, and all this other stuff. We'll get to that in a second. Before we go there, I want to break down some passages from the book because I want to see how you look at this, because it definitely made me look at it more interesting. Ashton and Mila faced massive backlash over the weekend. Obviously, the second time it's possible now for people to revisit the things Demi Moore said and the painful experiences during their 6-year marriage. For example, the second time Kutcher repeatedly cheated on Moore was on the weekend of their 6th anniversary in 2011. Moore revealed in her 2019 best-selling memoir, Inside Out, Kutcher's best friend, Danny Masterson, was hosting a bachelor party in San Diego before marrying Bijou Phillips. Kutcher wanted to be at the party. A few days later, news broke that Kutcher picked up a young blonde woman at the party, claiming he was separated, and they spent the night together. So this is apparently, he had already been forgiven. Demi and him were working it out. They were trying to work it out. And so then he goes and does it again with this 22-year-old at the party who he's telling we're not together. Oh, there's a whole story here about like, it's so hard being an actor. I have to always be fake, but with you, I can be real. And her and some other girl naked in a hot tub together in Vegas celebrating. The type of role model that Danny Masterson always told him to be. At Danny Masterson's bachelorette party, this is the type of role model. As Danny's about to get married to his wife, Ashton's out there cheating on his. Cool. This is the type of role model that Ashton's speaking up about. So yes, this was what happened. It was a blonde night out. Moore also described other ways Kutcher was insensitive or self-absorbed during their marriage, which lasted from 2005 until 2011 after he cheated on her. Moore said Kutcher also pressed her into, threesomes, encouraged her to break her sobriety, wasn't very apologetic after he was publicly caught being unfaithful. And yeah, all this is coming to light because of that letter that he wrote trying to talk about the excellent character, the role model that Danny Masterson was. Now, Masterson has long denied the allegations and pled not guilty, but he lost. His defense argued that he had consensual interactions with these women, and the first trial had a hung jury. However, now that didn't happen. The second one convicted him on 2 of the 3 counts. Now, when these incidents happened, they were all still doing that 70s show. This was between 1998 and 2006. In the spring of 2003, Kutcher began dating Demi Moore, and his star was on the rise. He had punked as well, and she was obviously established. Much was made of their 15-year age gap. He was 25, she was 40. In Moore's first meeting with Kutcher, she said it was prancing around in his New York hotel suite in a towel as he was about to take a shower. What's with these dudes in showers? Literally, every time they're meeting, I'm just going to take a shower. It's creepy now. It's really creepy. So even Demi Moore faced that. Ashton was apparently following that tip as well. Moore said they immediately hit it off. There was just an ease between us and a deep comfort and a lot of electricity. She also said she didn't see him as a flaky kid, but as a young man who had already had a very mature approach to life. Certain passages of Moore's book could be ammunition to those who have accused the actor of perpetuating our culture by defending Masterson, and now his long advocacy for his group Thorn. We'll get that in a second. Soon after they began dating, she opened up to Kutcher about being R'd herself at the age of 15 by an older man. Moore said Kutcher was the first person she really talked about this with and started dealing with the trauma and the shame to start healing. But if Kutcher was so empathetic in that conversation with Moore, many people wonder how he could have possibly penned his letter on behalf of Masterson in which he barely acknowledged his friend's crimes. Before they split, Moore and Kutcher launched this nonprofit, later named Thorn, to combat online trafficking. Moore's book said they continue to collaborate on the nonprofit, while Kutcher has said that the inspiration to take action came as they were watching a documentary about bad stuff in Cambodia. Here's Demi saying it. Hubby and I have started the Demi and Ashton Foundation, the DNA Foundation, as we like to call it. We really hope to bring an end to these terrible issues. But Moore revealed that the official launch of that nonprofit at a 2010 Clinton Global Initiative event coincided with news breaking about the first time Kutcher cheated on her. Moore said she was out of town when she learned that Kutcher had slept with another 21-year-old woman in their home. Moore also revealed that the young woman hit on Kutcher when they were out with her eldest daughter, Rumor. Moore said she and Kutcher went ahead with the Clinton Global Initiative event, during which she spoke about launching a campaign to try to alter the culture that enables men to feel okay about paying for, actions with these people. Girls, they can't legally. Moore recalled speaking to a room full of important people while staying next to her husband, who just cheated on me with a girl about the age of my oldest daughter. While Moore said at the event, real men protect, respect, love, and care for girls. She privately did not feel protected, respected, loved, or cared for herself. Over the weekend, people picked apart the statements. As we know, people focus on the couple's claim that it was critical of drug use. Kutcher said he attributed not falling into that typical Hollywood of life, yada, yada, and how he played this part. But in an attempt to damage control, they recorded this video and so on. So that's where things get even more weird. Because also in the book, Demi says that she felt pushed to party hard, but then shamed when she went too far with compromising photos Ashton would hold over her. She shares this story in it as well, where she says, they rented a house in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, to celebrate her birthday. 70s show alum and her friends were all there. We're having a great time, cutting loose. Had a huge dinner, a long banquet, waiters coming around with trays of shots. People were getting up on the table, strutting down the middle. They're having fun. They let things get out of hand, though. When you don't have an off switch, you can go until you can't go anymore. Late that night, we all ended up in a hot tub, and I started passing out and slipping under the water. If other people hadn't been there, I probably would have drowned. Moore said that the no strings attached star carried her to her bed that night and was furious. While this wasn't the first time something like this happened to her, she called his reaction confusing. Ashton had encouraged me to go in this direction. When I went too far, though, he let me know how he felt by showing a picture he'd taken of me resting my head on a toilet the night before. It seemed like a good-natured joke at the time, but it really just was shaming. Moore also opened up about becoming dependent on Vicodin. She received a prescription after the dentist, but began using it regularly until she reached a point where she was taking 12 a day. She recalled wanting to quit after she lost track of how many she had taken during a family weekend. When she broached the conversation with Kutcher, he asked me if I needed help. Clearly, Clearly, dude. Kutcher then left for a trip to Europe, leaving his wife to kick the addiction alone. When Ashton returned home, I felt like I'd lived through a war. He did not offer me any reinforcement or compassion. Former soap star added, I felt like he was angry with me for having this problem in the first place. You made your bed, now you have to lie in it. Fans believe that Kutcher was responding to all these anecdotes. At one point, he tweeted out, I was about to push the button on a really snarky tweet. Then I saw my son, daughter, and wife, and I deleted it, heart. So I guess he doesn't like what Demi's putting out there in his defense. So they separated in 2011, divorced in 2012. And then, yes, he went on to marry Mila Kunis, who he has 2 children with. Nobody else cared to comment. But look, when you look at this stuff, you look at these headlines and these pieces that Demi is saying, I guess one could say she's just angry, bitter. I don't know. Why? This doesn't look good, man. And it especially doesn't look good when you realize that he is this organization that now Demi is not as involved in, that he's all over, guys, all the initiatives. And knowing the past now, what he's sort of doing, like, should he be doing this? Like, does this seem right? Given the letter he wrote? And look, I said it before, I can admire someone standing up for a friend, but then you got to actually do it. And you got to tell me why. Why are you defending him? What's the proof you got? Okay, everyone's saying there's not enough evidence. Okay, well, do you have evidence that that they were lying, that this is untrue? Because you haven't provided any of that. In fact, you apologized for these letters, implying that your friend is in fact guilty. So which one is it? And if you did this, how can you do that and then this? All these things are so weird. And this woman who shares the story, who, you know, I don't know who told what. How do you not know he's with Demi Moore? I guess he said we weren't together anymore. He just came up and kissed me, she says. And then we were bold move. And then minutes later, we were naked in the hot tub with another woman. I didn't think it was out of the ordinary. I wasn't self-conscious about getting naked. Kutcher claimed he was separated from Moore, and she believed him. After retrieving the bedroom, he lost his towel, took off my robe, and yep, they did the deed. It was good. It wasn't weird or anything. It also wasn't 100% safe. He says she confesses during it. They're both, they talked about astrology. Told him I was Lutheran from Texas. Oh my gosh, you Republican. He laughed. Pretty much everything I said. But it wasn't all 20 questions. According after doing it a second time and arguing over her cell phone, the married was tender. He was like, I enjoy things like this because I'm an actor. 90% of the time it's fake. It's nice to have moments like this that are real. Oh yeah, this was real, Ashton. Nice real moment of you treating this woman. I mean, I guess respectfully, consensually, he did this. He's allowed to do this. They can do what they want, but you were in a relationship and you did it multiple times. And then you did this all while promoting these nice things about being there for women while seemingly using other women because you're unhappy in your marriage, which isn't a good look. And again, none of this should be any of my business. None of this should be any of my business, to be honest. But you now just made it our business when you're out there trying to say that you have good character and Danny, the convicted friend, is also the one who taught you it all. This doesn't look good. Am I crazy, guys? What do you think? Should these things be resurfaced? Do you think this is fair? What are your thoughts? I want to hear them down in the comments below. There's more to uncover. There is. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for alerts, smash that like button. Also, what should happen next? We have Molly, the PR expert. I'm trying to get her back for tomorrow. Hopefully that'll happen. So stay tuned. Lots more you're not going to miss for this story and more. And we'll be live later today around 3 or 4 p.m. Hope to see you there.